A peaceful morning began, but inside, Chu Qing was filled with turmoil over new martial arts troubles. As Chu Qing just stepped out of the house, a strange girl with pink hair tied high on both sides, Tran Hoa Hoa, blocked him and stuffed a mysterious package into his hand. Confused by Tran Hoa Hoa's sudden appearance, Chu Qing still had to accept the package and listen to her cryptic instructions. Without letting him wonder for long, Tran Hoa Hoa arranged for him to refine medicine right there, to test his ability and compatibility with the precious item from the Tang family. Chu Qing began the pill refining process. The magical furnace flew up, emitting strange light and powerful aura. The refining aura filled the sky. The furnace spun, creating a spiral energy cloud around Chu Qing, seemingly guiding spiritual energy into his body. Outside, a mysterious girl dressed in yellow and black martial attire, the sister of a deceased student, entered the smoke angrily, believing Chu Qing was involved in that death. Without much talk, the girl grabbed Chu Qing by the collar and lifted him off the ground with overwhelming strength, surprising and frightening him. She coldly threatened, "Hand over the martial art you just used, or you will die." Chu Qing tried to negotiate, offering to teach again and boasting he had a precious treasure. Her face showed a sinister smile. "Besides your life, I want everything else." The situation grew increasingly dangerous for Chu Qing. The girl in yellow, the deceased sister, was severely wounded after Chu Qing stabbed her chest with a glowing sword. Blood spread all over her body as she collapsed motionless to the ground. Chu Qing knelt on the cracked ground, still gripping the blazing golden sword tightly. Breathing heavily, he prepared for whatever might come next. He turned around to face a blonde woman wearing a moss-green cloak approaching. His eyes flashed with caution as the sword still shone brightly in his hand. The blonde girl who once called herself Pretty Sister smiled lightly and said, "You turned out to be quite ruthless." Chu Qing was stunned as he clearly saw her face. "Is it you?" he exclaimed, unable to hide his surprise. The girl calmly replied that she came to see if Chu Qing would be moved after being saved. At the same time, she suspected he had killed the purple-robed envoy of Xianwu, Su Zhang. Chu Qing firmly responded that he did not know who Su Zhang was, but indeed had killed a purple-robed envoy. He asked if she had come to Kim Mon to investigate this matter. The blonde girl confirmed in a low voice, "I never thought I would live under the same roof as the murderer." She pulled out a gun and pressed it directly against Chu Qing's chest, asking shortly, "Tell me, why did you kill her?" Chu Qing replied defiantly, "Do you want to hear? She had a valuable item and killed many people. If she intended to kill me, I was just resisting." Gong Yue stared at Chu Qing suspiciously, asking if he intended to accuse her. Chu Qing, flustered, denied it, reminding that they were betrothed, making the atmosphere even tenser and more awkward. Gong Yue angrily reminded him that Chu Qing had opposed the arranged marriage before, not understanding why he changed his attitude now. Chu Qing replied dryly, "I'm scared now." Gong Yue suddenly changed her expression, puffing her cheeks childishly in anger, creating an unpredictable atmosphere. She laughed loudly and pressed the gun against Chu Qing's head. Chu Qing calmly warned her to be careful. If the gun accidentally fired, she would lose her fiancé. Gong Yue returned to a normal expression, acting arrogantly and saying she would find a room to interrogate Chu Qing seriously. In a bright room, Gong Yue's sharp voice rang out, "Speak!" exerting strong pressure on Chu Qing as she prepared to question him. She stood above, holding up an anatomical body diagram and interrogated Chu Qing about where he found it. Her gaze was sharp, missing no detail. Chu Qing calmly replied that he was the one who drew that anatomical diagram. The seriousness on his face made his words more credible. Gong Yue exclaimed in surprise, "Are you serious?" Chu Qing nodded, affirming he was not lying. Gong Yue lowered her voice and asked seriously, if he could draw such details, could he create a training method? Chu Qing modestly responded that it was still just a preliminary prototype. Gong Yue looked at Chu Qing meaningfully, acknowledging his abilities exceeded expectations, and proposed making an agreement. Chu Qing was surprised by the proposal and reacted to Gong Yue's next action. Gong Yue took off her cloak, stepped closer with a confident smile, offering to help investigate the Su Zheng case if Chu Qing helped cure her illness. She also revealed she was once engaged to Chu Lan, who is now Chu Qing. Chu Qing was confused, unsure of her health condition and how to treat it. Gong Yue threatened that if he was useless, he would be handed over to the supervisory agency. Chu Qing focused his observation and began analyzing Gong Yue's physical condition. He concluded that her training method and physical fitness contradicted each other, causing her body to gain abnormal weight. Gong Yue happily hugged Chu Qing, affirming he really could cure her illness. Meanwhile, he demanded payment first. After being satisfied, Gong Yue revealed more information. Although Chu Anlin is the head of the Chu clan, the real leader is Chu Qingru, the third master of Chu Qing. Chu Lan, her son, was originally engaged to Gong Yue. Chu Qing wondered about the purpose of the marriage between the two families and the roles of the Chu and Gong families in the whole story. Gong Yue replied playfully. If he wanted more information, he should give her a kiss, because this was exclusive and valuable information. A girl wearing a traditional yellow and black outfit lies collapsed, blood pouring from a large wound on her abdomen. It seems she was brutally murdered in a bloody battle. Chu Qing knelt on the ground, gripping a glowing yellow sword tightly, ready to face the approaching enemy. Facing Chu Qing was an enemy cloaked in light blue. Chu Qing's eyes were filled with hatred as the sword in his hand blazed brightly. The enemy slowly revealed her face, a woman with blonde hair, cold yet alluring eyes. She smiled provocatively and said, "So you are quite ruthless after all." Chu Qing was shocked to recognize the woman. He shouted, "Is that you?" The woman replied calmly that she came to see if he would be moved after being saved, then suddenly questioned, "Did you really kill Su Zhang, the envoy of Xianwu?" Chu Qing admitted to having killed a purple-clad envoy of Jianwu, but did not know that person was named Su Zhang. He asked if she had come to Jinmen to investigate this matter. The woman sneered and said she never expected to live under the same roof as a murderer, then suddenly pulled out a gun, pressing it against Chu Qing, demanding to know why he killed the victim. Chu Qing calmly responded, asking if she really wanted to hear the truth that the other party possessed a dangerous item and had killed many people, or if she would kill him and force him to resist. The woman sharply asked, "Are you trying to accuse me?" Chu Qing dodged the question, reminding her that she was his fiancée, and gently asked, "Don't you want me to win your heart?" Gong Yue asked Chu Qing if he intended to accuse her. Chu Qing evaded, subtly reminding that they were betrothed on paper, but did she want him to conquer her heart? Gong Yue coldly pressed the gun to Chu Qing's head, questioning his previous opposition to their arranged marriage. Chu Qing trembled and replied, "I'm scared." Annoyed, Gong Yue puffed her cheeks in frustration, showing a mischievous childishness. After a hearty laugh, she still did not lower the gun, warning that if it accidentally fired, Chu Qing would lose his fiancée. Gong Yue proactively invited Chu Qing to find a private room for questioning, her expression confident, arrogant, and seductive. She spoke seriously, demanding he tell the truth as the scene shifted to a luxurious hotel room. There, Gong Yue stood authoritatively, presenting a detailed anatomical drawing, questioning Chu Qing about where he got it. Chu Qing affirmed that he was the one who drew the anatomical picture, surprising Gong Yue. She asked again in astonishment for confirmation, while Chu Qing calmly confirmed and added that he was not lying. Gong Yue immediately connected the dots. If Chu Qing could draw an organ diagram, he surely could create a physical training method. Chu Qing was surprised when Gong Yue proposed a new deal. She admitted that with his status, he could enter the national university and suggested an exchange. Chu Qing asked back in surprise, not understanding the true intention behind Gong Yue's proposal. Gong Yue revealed her charm and set a condition. She would help resolve the Su Zheng case if Chu Qing treated her illness. She also promised additional gifts, revealing about Chu Lan, who was once her fiancé but ultimately became Chu Qing. Chu Qing was confused and unclear about her illness, while Gong Yue coldly replied that if he was useless, she would send him to the supervisory department. Chu Qing focused intently, beginning to analyze Gong Yue's physical condition. He bluntly stated that her physique and training methods were contradictory, leading to abnormal obesity. Gong Yue hugged Chu Qing joyfully, believing he truly could cure her. After helping her resolve the Su Zheng case, Gong Yue revealed more information about the Chu family, the real leader being Chu Qingru, his third aunt. Gong Yue explained that Chu Lan, son of Chu Anlin, was once betrothed to her but disliked his fiancé's appearance and passed the obligation to someone else. Gong Yue was surprised as she placed her hand on her forehead, sensing something unusual happening to herself after taking the pill Chu Qing gave her. She took out a mirror to check and was shocked to see her reflection. Her face had changed noticeably. Unable to contain her emotions, Gong Yue hugged Chu Qing tightly and expressed, "Chu Qing, thank you, I truly love you." Chu Qing remained calm, gently setting clear boundaries. He could only help to this extent, and other matters were beyond his ability. Gong Yue suddenly froze, her expression shifting from gratitude to confusion at Chu Qing's tactful refusal. She lay silently down, her eyes becoming vacant, worried about something gradually emerging. She suddenly sat up in a panic, exclaiming, "You mean I'll be like this from now on? My face looks normal, but my body's swollen like this." Chu Qing calmly replied that if Gong Yue gave up practicing incorrectly, he could help her return to her original appearance. When Gong Yue doubted the severity of the problem, Chu Qing sternly warned, "Your problem isn't just from wrong training but your physique. If this continues, you will die." Chu Qing lifted his shirt, revealing his abdomen, preparing to present something important in the negotiation. He took out the glowing pill and proposed a new deal to Gong Yue, to exchange this pill for Vong Zian bullets. Gong Yue took the pill, asking suspiciously, "Is it worth exchanging for Vong Zion? Can it cure my illness?" Chu Qing replied directly, "It can't cure it, but I will find a way. You should try this pill first." Gong Yue put the pill in her mouth, her eyes showing a moment of hesitation but determination. Right after swallowing, her eyes lit up, showing signs of power being activated. A burst of energy exploded around Gong Yue. Chu Qing introduced, "Its name is Kwang En Hat. After swallowing, power increases by 30%. Gong Yue calmly loaded the bullet into the gun, preparing for a new situation. With bright and excited eyes, Gong Yue smiled radiantly. "I want 10 pills. Chu Qing smiled and handed over another glowing pill. Gong Yue focused on her bag, preparing to store it. Chu Qing held the glowing bullet, observing carefully, and commented, "Vong Zion bullet seems stronger than Tu Qin's." Gong Yue immediately rejected that, clarifying that Vong Zion also has 7 levels. The type she uses is level 3, while Tu Qin's is only the lowest, level 1. She confidently lay down, exposing her body, and provocatively said, "Come on, stop talking, show me your skills." The scene shifted to Gong Yue lying full of expectation, while Chu Qing sat beside her, gently placing his hand on her head. Gong Yue was immersed in a blissful feeling, cherry blossoms and light filling her mind. In a dreamlike state, Gong Yue imagined another face, delicate and radiant, reflected through Chu Qing's hands. She suddenly opened her eyes, stunned to see her face become brighter and younger. Gong Yue was moved, hugging Chu Qing and confessing, "Chu Qing, thank you. I really love you." Chu Qing immediately clarified, "I only did as you asked to this extent. I can't do anything else." Gong Yue was stunned. After a moment of silence, she lowered her head with a confused look, her figure still clearly seductive. Tang Ziyin's second aunt suddenly brightened up, her eyes shining when hearing the news that a handsome guy could be saved, excited for an unexpected reason. Without hesitation, she grabbed Tang Yan's hand and hurried away, complaining non-stop that it would be a waste if such a handsome man were killed. Tang Yan suddenly heard the phone ringing in her coat pocket, interrupting their sprint. She quickly answered, anxiously asking about Chu Qing's situation. The second aunt enthusiastically commented that his voice was a delicacy. Tang Yan instructed Chu Qing to return home and rest, and arranged to meet him at school tomorrow. After hanging up, Tang Yan breathed a sigh of relief. The second aunt remained curious, her eyes full of scheming. Although Chu Qing said he was fine, Tang Yan remained skeptical. The second aunt urged her to verify in person. Tang Yan refused outright. The second aunt was dissatisfied, claiming she had sacrificed her sex life to save someone, and hinted at wanting compensation with a night with Chu Qing, causing Tang Yan to shout, "No." The scene shifted to late at night, the apartment building where Chu Qing lived appearing under the dim moonlight. At Chu Qing's dining table, his father asked if Gong Zhu would come home for dinner, showing she was a family member but had not yet appeared. Chu Qing informed his father that his mother no longer needed to worry about the fat girl because she had returned to the capital and was on a plane. He was referring to Gong Yue. Chu Qing's mother worried upon learning the other party was willing to leave, while his father reminded that even if she left, the engagement still existed. Chu Qing reassured his parents that the girl had refused to marry within the next year or two, and revealed that the engagement was arranged by Chu Qingru, involving someone named Chu Lan. Chu Qing's parents were stunned, their faces showing worry and discomfort upon hearing the names of people in the Chu family. Chu Qing silently affirmed that his enemies were the Chu family, including Chu Anlin, Chu Qingru, and Chu Lan. He vowed to take revenge on them. A plane was flying through the night sky, carrying an important passenger, Gong Yue. In first class, Gong Yue, now with bandages wrapped all over her face after an injury, received a report from her subordinate about recent contacts with Zhai Yu. She silently read the documents, her eyes cold but clearly determined. The documents revealed the name Chu Qing and his picture. Gong Yue smiled faintly, uttering "Ha," telling herself that the fate between them was not yet over. Gong Yue appears with a bloodied face, an expression full of resilience after a battle or a serious incident. Chu Qing explained that the Chu family had come to arrange a betrothal, but was interrupted before he could express his dissatisfaction. Gong Yue proposed cooperating with Chu Qing, since they both had enemies. She was willing to go to the capital to help him, regardless of university matters. Chu Qing advised Gong Yue to stop cultivating for a while to avoid danger, as he did not want to see her die when he arrived in the capital. Gong Yue laughed bitterly, not believing she would ever need Chu Qing's help. Tang Yan appeared, her eyes determined, repeating the challenging phrase, "Poor me." Tang Yan and her second aunt hurried to the place where Chu Qing had stayed, their hearts full of worry. Tang Yan was confused because she did not see Chu Qing, but noticed signs indicating he had just left with someone else. The second aunt scolded Tang Yan for being too cold, reminding her that she was her biological aunt and should not behave that way. The second aunt defended herself, saying she was being dragged away to save someone, so she had no motivation left. The brown-haired woman suddenly brightened up upon learning details about a handsome man. Her eyes lit up with excitement. She pulled Tang Zian to run quickly, lamenting that it was a pity such a handsome man was killed. As they were walking, the phone in Tang Zian's coat pocket kept ringing continuously. Tang Zian hurriedly answered, anxiously asking if the caller was okay and where they were. The brown-haired woman standing beside her listened curiously. Tang Zian ended the call and told the other person to go home, arranging to meet again tomorrow at school. She sighed after hanging up, while the brown-haired woman remained excitedly standing beside her. The woman immediately objected, saying that just hearing the phone call was not enough. They had to see for themselves if he was truly safe. Half-jokingly, she said she had sacrificed her sexual happiness to save Tang Zian's boyfriend, so she suggested letting him stay with her for one night. Tang Zian immediately refused. The scene shifted to a high-rise building at night, hinting at Chu Qing's residence. During a family meal at Chu Qing's house, someone asked if Gong Zhu would come home for dinner, indicating this member was absent. Chu Qing quietly opened Chu Zio's room door to check the bed. He wondered because recently Gong Yue had been sleeping with his sister. Before him was an unusually sunken bed, a clear sign of a significant impact. Chu Qing was stunned. Sitting on the bed, Chu Qing smiled mischievously and decided to call Chu Zio to tease her reaction. Unexpectedly, a dreamy male voice came from the other end, leaving Chu Qing stunned. Chu Qing was speechless. It was a man's voice. He angrily realized his sister had a boyfriend. On the other end, Chu Zio was intimate with Xing Tao. The two lay on the bed in a very close state. Interrupted by the call, Chu Zio annoyedly told Xing Tao to hang up. She blushed, clearly not wanting to be disturbed. Chu Qing continued speaking loudly on the phone, causing Chu Zio to panic. He asked who she was with and doubted her feelings. Xing Tao became fiercely jealous, thinking Chu Zio had another man. He shouted, not believing her. Chu Zio angrily yelled into the phone, calling Chu Qing crazy. Meanwhile, Xing Tao still sulked due to the misunderstanding. The long black-haired girl smiled and handed Chu Qing a milk tea, reassuring him that it was not drugged. Chu Qing was cautious, saying this drink suited girls more and that he didn't like it much. The girl suddenly leaned in close, about to kiss Chu Qing on the cheek, making him embarrassed. She teased him, asking, "What about this? Do you like it?" At that moment, a strange woman approached, holding a photo and confirming, "Are you Chu Qing?" A blonde female assistant wearing sunglasses and a black suit appeared and said her employer wanted to meet Chu Qing. The black-haired girl was surprised to hear Tang family, while Chu Qing looked ready and asked to be led there. The luxury car approached, opening the door to welcome Chu Qing to meet the mysterious woman. Chu Qing stepped to the car door, leaned in and asked, "Miss, are you looking for me?" Inside the car were two noble women, one with purple hair and a high bun, wearing an elegant purple and white dress, and another with gray hair wearing a red coat, sitting solemnly. Both seemed to be waiting to meet Chu Qing privately. Chu Zio angrily pulled Zio Tao's shirt, blaming him for accepting too much money from Yi Chengxi, which made the girl's reputation easily misunderstood. Chu Zio promised to protect Yi Chengxi's honor and was ready to seek justice if Chengxi was bullied. Chu Zio emotionally hugged Zio Tao, sharing that she was glad he cared for her, but emphasized that Yi Chengxi was not an ordinary person. She belonged to the noble Yi family. Zio Tao was stunned when hearing about the Yi family, realizing the importance and influence of Yi Chengxi. Back at school, Chu Qing's group of friends waited outside the building, hesitantly calling him boss. In the friends' minds, C-letter 1ED5 Vo, ancient martial arts, made men weak, poor, even infertile. They hesitated when invited to practice. Chu Qing reassured them, affirming that he also practiced C-letter 1ED5 Vo with a special method designed for men, which was completely harmless. As the eldest brother, Chu Qing confidently encouraged his younger brothers and asked them to join the training experiment. The friends agreed awkwardly, and Chu Qing promised to personally guide them. At that moment, a strange girl appeared beside a white sports car, coldly calling Chu Qing's name and questioning whether he was bullying a classmate. Yi Chengxi suddenly appeared and asked why her mother and nanny had come here. Chu Qing could only think silently that she changed her attitude too quickly. Chengxi turned to ask Chu Qing in surprise, "Why are you here?" leaving him unsure how to respond. Without letting him answer, Yi Chengxi suddenly stepped forward and kissed Chu Qing in broad daylight. Inside the car, Chengxi's mother and housekeeper were completely stunned by that bold action. The kissing scene between the two happened right in front of the car, and from afar, a third person was approaching, bringing a tense atmosphere. The newcomer was the black-haired girl, Gong Yue. Her eyes blazed fiercely, full of killing intent, witnessing everything. Yi Chengxi gently pushed Chu Qing away and said he should go home because it was late, then turned and left first. Chengxi got into the car and closed the door, while Chu Qing stood alone in the sunset light, deep in thought. Although just ignored, Chu Qing slightly smiled as if hiding his true feelings. However, before the smile could fully form, a sudden punch to the face from the side stunned him, signaling real trouble was about to begin. Yi Chengxi suddenly kicked Chu Qing down onto the back seat of the red sports car, her eyes cold and full of anger. Chu Qing stammered an explanation, pretending not to understand what was happening and trying to soothe her. "Who dares to anger you? I'll help you teach him a lesson." Yi Chengxi smiled coldly, pressed the car lock button, and said determinedly, "No need, I'll handle it myself." She pulled Chu Qing closer by the hand, her eyes full of implication, making him panic and shout, "This is the school gate." Trapped with no way out, Chu Qing hurriedly got up, his face tense as he faced Yi Chengxi, who was approaching closely. Yi Chengxi angrily pulled his shirt and shouted, "When you kissed Tang Zian, didn't you think I was right in front of you?" Not giving Chu Qing a chance to react, Yi Chengxi pressed her face close, stroking his cheek with a determined and provocative look. Yi Chengxi forcefully kissed Chu Qing, completely surprising him and leaving him no time to resist. The scene shifted to sunset and night, symbolizing the passage of time. Chu Qing sighed and asked, "Are you satisfied now?" Yi Chengxi smiled contentedly, took a drag of her cigarette under the moonlight, then calmly replied, "Yes, I am." Yi Chengxi grabbed Chu Qing's collar, pulling his face close with a serious expression. She warned, from now on, he must not be close to any other girl in front of her, or else the consequences would be unpredictable. Chu Qing hurriedly left the car, muttering as he ran, "I have to get home quickly." Once out of Yi Chengxi's sight, Chu Qing complained that her milk tea was truly a hazard, causing accidents every time he drank it. Yi Chengxi sat in the car with a determined gaze. She watched Chu Qing's figure and silently said, "Chu Qing, you belong to me. I will definitely keep you." Chu Qing was suddenly called by his sister, a rare event that surprised him greatly. Chu Zio's choked voice sounded on the phone, asking Chu Qing to take care of their parents for her, her words full of despair. Panicked, Chu Qing shouted loudly over the phone, asking where his sister was and what had happened. The scene shifted to a luxurious room with curtains and a white bed, signaling a completely different place. A long-haired blonde woman, dressed provocatively and wearing a veil, was stepping on Chu Zio's back. She called Chu Qing, issuing an ultimatum. He had 30 minutes to come or else come to bury his sister's body.